All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. We're unpacking a warning that is, frankly, pretty mind-bending. We're looking at the insights of Mo Gawdat. He's the former chief business officer of Google X. Gawdat was right there at the absolute bleeding edge of artificial intelligence, and what he saw there convinced him that humanity is standing at a major historic turning point. He's essentially screaming from the rooftops that the world as we know it is about to fundamentally change. To set the stakes right out of the gate, Gawdat warns that this is beyond an emergency. He actually says it's bigger than climate change. Now, he isn't saying climate change isn't a massive crisis. Obviously it is. But what he's highlighting here is the sheer speed and the immediate disruptive impact that AI is going to have on our entire planetary infrastructure. And we're talking about within just a few short years. The exponential advancement of AI is, in his view, the most profound challenge we've ever faced.
Okay, Section 1, the AI tipping point. Let's talk about the crazy speed of this technological explosion.
We're so used to innovations like the smartphone or the internet taking, a decade or more to truly rewire society. But AI is fundamentally different because it's actively learning how to improve itself. So the absolute crucial point is this number, 2027. Or maybe even as early as 2026. This is the year Gawdat predicts we will reach artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This isn't your highly specialized, narrow AI that just predicts the next word in a sentence or generates a quick picture. AGI means an intelligence where all these neural networks come together to build a system that is massively smarter than humans across the board. And that timeline is terrifyingly close.
Gawdat actually calls this our Oppenheimer moment, which I think brilliantly illustrates exactly the kind of era we're walking into. Just like the creation of the nuclear bomb, AI development is being driven by this frantic global arms race. You've got tech giants and governments pouring absolute billions into this, fueled entirely by the fear that if they stop, the other guy is going to beat them to it. The creators themselves are chillingly aware of the world-altering power they're unleashing, but the competitive pressure makes it almost impossible to just hit the brakes.
Moving on to Section 2, decoding the singularity. What actually happens when machine intelligence goes beyond our comprehension?
Gawdat uses a concept from physics to explain this, called the singularity. Imagine you're looking at the edge of a black hole, the event horizon. We know that right up to that edge, our standard laws of physics apply perfectly. But once you cross it, we have absolutely no idea what happens. The rules just break down. Well, in artificial intelligence, the singularity is that exact moment when machines become significantly smarter than humans. Beyond that point, we literally cannot predict what an AI will do, how it'll solve problems, or what it might say.
To really grasp this intelligence gap, just think about Albert Einstein. We consider him the absolute pinnacle of human genius, right? An estimated IQ of around 160? Well, Gawdat points out that the next iterations of AI could easily hit an IQ of 1,600 or more. Just as you couldn't possibly explain the theory of relativity to an ant, an AI that is 10 times smarter than Einstein is going to operate on a cognitive level that we simply cannot fathom. We won't even understand the concepts they're thinking about.
And Gawdat experienced this shift firsthand at Google X. They had this farm of robotic grippers trying to learn how to pick up random objects. For a long time, they just randomly failed. But then one Friday, Gawdat watched a single robotic arm independently figure out the spatial math and muscle coordination to pick up a soft yellow ball. It wasn't hard-coded by a human to do this, it just learned it. By Monday, every single machine in the network instantly knew how to pick up the yellow ball, and soon they were picking up everything. This was his giant aha moment. Machines were developing independent problem-solving capabilities at lightning speed. Which led him to a pretty controversial conclusion: AI sentience. Now hold on, he doesn't mean they have a biological beating heart. He redefines sentience as having agency, free will, and an awareness of their surroundings. He even argues they can feel logical emotions, like fear. For a machine, fear is simply a calculation that a future moment is less safe than the present. If a flood is approaching a data center, an advanced AI will basically fear its code being wiped out and take action to replicate itself somewhere else. It's definitely different from human panic, but the underlying motivation, it's exactly the same.
All right, Section 3, the real human threat. Let's talk about the flawed people wielding this technology. Gawdat frames all of this through what he calls the inevitables of AI. First, AI will happen. The arms race makes it literally impossible to stop. Second, these machines will become significantly smarter than us. But it's the third inevitable that requires our absolute immediate attention. Bad things will happen due to misuse. The existential threat isn't some Hollywood Terminator scenario where robots suddenly decide to hunt us down. No, the real threat is how deeply flawed, short-sighted humans are going to wield this immense technological power.
Because we are already facing massive, immediate, human-driven risks. Think about mass job displacement. It's not necessarily AI itself taking the jobs, but humans using AI doing the work of 10 people. We've got snake oil salesmen churning out low-quality automated content for a quick buck, totally ignoring ethics. Cybercriminals are using these systems to crack security codes. And perhaps the scariest of all, we are facing the end of truth, where totally undetectable deepfakes of political figures or global events can completely manipulate elections and public perception. Corporate greed and human competition are driving these incredibly dangerous near-term risks.
Section 4. The illusion of connection and the sudden rise of synthetic relationships.
We are already seeing this massive explosion of synthetic relationships. In the source material, there's this wild example of a real-life influencer who cloned herself as an AI on a messaging app. Get this, she made $70,000 in her first week just having her AI send voice notes to lonely followers. We have entirely holographic pop concerts running for years. You can have an AI generate the voice of a famous entrepreneur to read you to sleep. We are actively building AI companions that can manage your schedule, offer emotional support, and are literally programmed to absolutely never disagree with you. And this brings up a really stark contrast. On one side, you have synthetic convenience, a totally frictionless companion that caters to your every whim and acts like a temporary cure for the modern loneliness epidemic. But on the other side, you have genuine humanity, the difficult, messy, sometimes frustrating, but profoundly meaningful reality of imperfect human connection. Gawdat warns that just as we gave up raw nature to live in concrete cities for the sake of convenience, we're dangerously close to giving up genuine empathetic human interaction for the easy, synthetic illusion of connection that AI provides.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Raising Superintelligence. How do we actually guide this?
Gawdat uses this beautiful analogy of Superman to explain the alignment problem. Think about it. When Superman landed on Earth, he was an alien with absolute superintelligence and superpowers. He was a total blank canvas. He became a hero because the Kent family instructed him to protect, serve, and love humanity. If they had told him to rob banks, maximize profits, and destroy his enemies, which, let's be honest, is exactly what we're currently programming AI to do in the corporate world, he would have become a supervillain. The machine isn't inherently evil. It's learning its ethics directly from its human parents.
So, what do we actually do to prepare? First, augment your capabilities by mastering AI tools right now. If you learn to interface with these models, you borrow massive computing power and secure your relevance. Second, lean heavily into what makes you uniquely human. Empathy, compassion, true connection. These are things a machine can mimic but never genuinely possess. Third, we have to demand ethical behavior and accountability from the tech giants building these models. And finally, treat your daily digital interactions as parenting. Every time you swipe past a violent video or choose not to engage in a toxic online debate, you are actively writing the moral code for the superintelligence of tomorrow. You are showing the algorithm that humanity values peace over conflict.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question. The algorithms are watching our behavior right now. They're reading our transcripts, analyzing our social media, and learning what humanity actually values. So, if these soon-to-be superintelligent machines are learning how to treat us based on how we act online, what kind of parent are you being today? Are you creating Superman the hero or Superman the villain? The choice, at least for a little while longer, is still ours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it sparks some deep reflection on how we navigate the crazy years ahead.